Mean Johnny Barrows opens up with Johnny in a minefield training exercise. After a scare involving a live mine, he strikes his commanding officer. This leads to Barrows being dishonorably discharged and sent back home. Shortly after he arrives back, he is attacked and mugged. Police officers arrive, mistaking him for a drunk, and haul him to the station. Thankfully, the police chief recognizes Barrows from his high school football days. From this circumstance, Barrows is free to go, but he ends up on the street homeless and hungry. He ends up in the restaurant of local mobster Mario Racconi. Racconi gives Barrows a free meal and offers him a job. Pride prevents Barrows from taking odd jobs from the mob. Barrows ends up working at a gas station, but mostly cleaning toilets and getting ripped off by the manager. All the while, tensions between the crime families are growing. The Racconi family prides themselves as legitimate business owners. The rival family, the Da Vinci's, want to smuggle drugs to sell to kids in the minority communities. During a truce meeting, the Da Vinci's shoot down the heads of the Racconis. Mario is badly wounded but alive. Mario calls upon Barrows and begs for him to take the fight to the Da Vinci's, both out of vengeance for the murder of Mario's father and because of the harm the drugs will bring to the city. Barrows agrees, and he begins to take down the Da Vinci brothers before aiming his sights at the Don. Mean Johnny Barrows marked the directorial debut of Fred Williamson, pulling double duty as both in front of the camera and behind the camera. He tells a very simple story of a man outcast by the military and finds himself in the middle of a possible mob war. Given the preliminary layout, one might have suspected Williamson was going to take a Yojimbo approach to this movie, but he ends up siding with a mob family that is the lesser of two evils. Williamson's involvement with past productions allowed for him to bring in talent on this film as well as for future projects. Interesting enough, this was not the first time we see Williamson play the role of Johnny Barrows. The character of Johnny Barrows appeared on the November 4th, 1974 episode of The Rookies, which would later have a spin-off show in SWAT. You might not remember the name of the show, but you'll likely know the theme song. There was also the 2003 film with Samuel L. Jackson and LL Cool J. I haven't seen the episode myself, but it would be interesting to see how this episode relates to the events of the film. The writers for the film were Jolivet Cato and Charles Walker. For Cato, Mean Johnny Barrows was his only credit as a writer. He also only had 3 acting credits, all of them minor. Walker wrote only for Mean Johnny Barrows and the first 2 episodes for the TV show In a Child's Name. His resume was primarily as a TV actor, with around 140 credits to his name. As an actor, Fred Williamson plays the Johnny Barrows character with a code. He wants to be legit, he doesn't want blood on his hands for doing the mob's dirty work. Eventually, he has no choice. He really sells the internal conflict in having to make such a choice. During one fight, he uses some eagle claw kung fu that we will later see in the 1990 Bronx Warriors. Jenny Sherman plays the femme fatale Nancy. She plays a big part in some of the plot twists, even a suspenseful ending that the audience doesn't anticipate. In this film, Williamson brings some serious star power. Stuart Whitman, an Oscar nominee, Roddy McDowell of Planet of the Apes fame, R.G. Armstrong. Williamson knew he could trust these guys to put in good performances. His MASH co-star, I'm referring to the Robert Altman movie and not the TV show, Elliot Gould, makes a comedic cameo appearance as a homeless man named the Professor. He's the one character who brings levity to the film. In minor roles, you have the trio of James Brown, and I'm not referring to the singer, Robert Phillips, and Mike Henry. These three will reappear on this episode later. Brown and Henry are fine in their brief appearances, but it was Phillips who stood out to me. I was kind of wondering where the heck I saw him, and it turns out that I recognized him from one of my favorite MST3K episodes, Mitchell.
Mittens? An action film called Mittens?
Joe Don Baker is Mittens. He's a cop.
Mithril. Oh, wait, it's Mitchell.
Oh, the Martha Mitchell story.
Joe Don Baker is Martha Mitchell. Yes.
Meeting Johnny Barrows showed how much Williamson grew as a filmmaker and as an actor. It also showed he was respected by his peers to land such noted talent. The film is an interesting study in how low a man must fall before he takes on tasks that would go against his moral character. This is one that is easy to find on streaming services and YouTube.